Christian doctrines and its leadership were immensely controversial, but Constantine decided to unite Christendom through agreements. Votes were counted, and the results defined what doctrine was and what was not. It was exactly the same as the Roman Senate did with the Roman faith. The nature of God and the expression the Trinity were among those subjects they discussed and voted on during these church meetings. Constantine not only placed his mark on doctrines for his day, but embedded them in Christian doctrine until this day. Constantine didn't only elevate the Christian God, but elevated the pagan gods too. Constantine declared Constantinople, which is today Istanbul, to be the new capital of Rome. A 50-metre high pillar was placed in the middle of the city. On the top, he erected a large bronze-plated statue. It resembled Constantine turning towards the east with a lance in one hand and a globe in the other, illustrating his victory by the goddess Victoria, a symbol of his power over the whole world. Upon his head was a crown of sunbeams. Only a few years after he had led the bishops' debate in the Council of Nicaea, Constantine appeared dressed as the sun god. Towards the end of the 4th century, they erected an altar by the bronze statue, where they were now celebrating Mass. Candles were lit, and incense was burned, and prayers were sent up to Constantine's statue atop the pillar. Also, Constantine is pictured below Sol in his triumphal arch. This medal shows Constantine and Sol Invictus as twins, one beside the other. Constantine's elevation of Sol Invictus and the mixture of Christianity and the sun god can still be seen in several churches where Christianity and sun worship is still mixed together. Even though many of the Christians worshipped God on the Sabbath, Constantine gave honour to the sun god, and for those Christians who rejected the Sabbath commandment, he instituted a Sunday law. In March 321 AD, he wrote, "On the venerable day of the sun, let the magistrates and people residing in cities rest, and let all workshops be closed." Also, the birthday and festival of the sun god, the 25th of December, was instituted as a feast day for pagans and Christians alike. Constantine passed a law to celebrate the birth of the sun god, the 25th of December, Natalis Solis Invicti. It shows how Sol Invictus and Jesus for him were two parts of the same God. The Christians still celebrate these two feast days which honour the sun god, and at the same time mingle them with Christianity. The change of the 4th commandment of God did not occur without struggle. Constantine's resolution against the Sabbath in favour of Sunday was not at that time a new concept. The Christians in Rome had for a long time done away with this commandment. Among those who rose up against this rejection of the commandments was Polycarp. Polycarp used to be a close friend of the Apostle John, who died around 100 AD. When he heard that Ancetus, the local bishop in Rome, had told the Christians to keep Sunday instead of the 7th day, he went to Rome in the year 155 AD to try to convince him to retract his statement. But the Bishop of Rome refused to listen to what Polycarp showed him from Scripture, and he returned to Smyrna, where he died a martyr the next year. The pagan Christian assault against the Sabbath raged on. In the year 364, in an attempt to destroy the Sabbath among the Christians, a church council was held in Laodicea.
And here was another famous church synod in the year 364. And in this meeting it was decided that all Christians who kept Sabbath should be condemned by law and excommunicated. And all the Jewish Christians and all the other Christians who still kept the seventh-day Sabbath from now on were called Judaists. And to keep the Sabbath was forbidden by law. From this time on, we don't hear anything more about Jewish Christians in the Roman Empire.
Despite the Church of Rome now enjoying authority in the Roman Empire as the head of all Christianity, there were still many Christians who kept pure the true teachings of the Bible, and they refused to reject the fourth commandment and honour the pagan Sunday. In the beginning, when they started to put into effect this law, there was great confusion, and this confusion spread to North Italy, where Ambrosius, the bishop in Milan, once said, "When he was in Milan he kept the Sabbath, and when he was in Rome he kept holy the Sunday and fasted on Saturdays." Augustine also spoke of two neighbouring churches in North Africa. One kept the Sabbath and the other fasted on the Sabbath. The Celts, who were taught by the Galatians, who were taught by, among others, the Apostle Paul, held to another Bible translation that differed from the Bible used in the church in Alexandria and Rome, and they refused to abandon the Sabbath as the Christian day of rest. The churches in Ireland and Scotland therefore kept the Sabbath for many centuries and refused to acknowledge the Bishop of Rome. The Apostle Paul also gave the gospel to the Greeks, and regarding the Greek churches, it was once said, "There is not any city of the Grecians, nor any of the barbarians, not any nation whatsoever, whither our custom of resting on the seventh day hath not come." The Gentile Christians observed also the Sabbath. The primitive Christians did keep the Sabbath of the Jews. Therefore the Christians, for a long time together, did keep their conventions upon the Sabbath, in which some portions of the law were read, and this continued to the time of the Laodicean Council. "And the isles shall wait for his law,